Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's Kofi. Please like and subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so that when I post a video, you can know immediately. Today's video, I wanted to talk about how to provide support to an autistic friend or family member. Today, autism isn't becoming more common, but its diagnosis is becoming more common. Autistic people were always there. There are not autistic people popping up all of a sudden. The case is that so many have gone undiagnosed, and now the professional community is trying to hone in on those skills that we have through new research about autism to properly diagnose those, especially women, especially if you're a woman of color. It's more likely that you'll go undiagnosed. So if you know someone who's on the spectrum, or maybe you're on the spectrum yourself and you don't realize how you can provide support to your friends or family who are also autistic, the number one thing you can do for your autistic loved one is to learn about autism. That sounds so simple, but there are people I've met who know that I'm autistic, who I've told, and who refuse to learn about it. So really, that's such a basic thing that you can do to help greatly. If you could just do a little bit of research. We've got the world at our fingertips on phones, iPads, laptops. We have all of the world's information. Educate yourself on autism, what autism is, what it isn't. Understand that autism is a spectrum that everyone experiences differently. Avoid stereotypes and assumptions about what an autistic person should be like. The second thing is you can respect their communication styles. Some autistic people prefer texting over talking, and it would be nice if you could respect their preference. I know I have trouble with phone calls. Not so much now, I've had a lot of practice, but if you struggle with phone calls, then it's best to tell your loved one about that so that they can respect your boundaries and maybe they can text you instead. I think that I communicate better through written language. I think my written language is more powerful than all of the things I speak because I don't speak very much. I don't really give a lot of details of things. I never think that I have to. But then something gets lost in translation, right? So if they like to text, maybe you can text them, please, and not call them if they don't like that. If they prefer calling or FaceTiming, just ask them their preference and then do that. That's one of the most considerate things you can do, because if they have too much going on, let's say they don't like talking on the phone, and you call them all the time, that could diminish their energy. And then you don't want them to be in burnout. You don't want them to have sensory overload, right? So respect their communication styles. Be patient with processing time. They might need more time to respond. This is very important because sometimes people think that people on the spectrum don't care about something, when in reality, it just takes a lot of time to process what's going on and how they feel about it. And they may want to discuss things later on about what just happened. You may get things immediately. You may connect with your emotions immediately about how you feel about something. But if they bring it up later on, try not to fault them for that, because they really do just need processing time. Avoid pressuring them to make eye contact or use typical social cues. This can be very hard for autistic people, because if they always feel pressured to act neurotypical, to make eye contact with you, or to use all of the same social cues that someone else does, then they'll feel compelled to mask, to hide who they really are, and that's very bad. They could go into burnout because of it. They could start to feel uncomfortable, and it will create distance between you and your autistic loved one because they feel compelled to be someone that they're not, to act neurotypical. And you don't want them to do that. Another thing you can do is to create a comfortable environment. You can ask about their sensory sensitivities, such as light, sound, textures, smells, and accommodate those when possible. Maybe you really like your double chocolate, peppermint, patty, cinnamon, pumpkin, candle, and your friend who is on the spectrum is coming over and they're very sensitive to smells. Put that out. We don't want to smell that. Just if you know that something's overwhelming for someone else, just diminish it. I mean, within reason. It's not hard to put out a candle, right? Maybe it's something about the air conditioner. Maybe it's a sound going on. Maybe you have fans on and that autistic person doesn't really like having fans on. Just be considerate. And if they're overwhelmed, give them space and time to decompress. Something else that you can do for your autistic loved one is to respect their boundaries, respect their need for routines and predictability. So many of us really need routines and predictability to remain comfortable in different situations. And it would be great if you could just respect that, respect our need to expect the same thing over and over again, or the need to know what's going on. We need that predictability. It's very scary when you don't know what's going on for an autistic person, what's going to happen in the future. The future is terrifying. Something else you can do is be supportive in social situations. Like if they struggle with social settings, offer to be their safe person or help them navigate conversations. Don't force them into uncomfortable situations. You should give them the opportunity to opt out if they need to. If they don't want to go to a party, don't make them feel like they have to go to a party or they're a bad friend. If they stim, like rocking, hand flapping, fidgeting, all those little like fidgets that a lot of people on the spectrum do, just let them. It helps for self-regulation and it makes them feel comfortable that they can do that in front of you, because sometimes people make us feel awkward about doing it. Just let them stim, let them be themselves. Something else you can do just plainly is to ask them directly how you can help, right? We said not everyone on the spectrum is the same. Instead of assuming, just ask, what can I do to support you? Everyone's needs are different, so listening is key, respect is key. Respect their boundaries, don't push them into things that cause distress. You can also be very patient with meltdowns and shutdowns. Those are some of the hardest parts about being autistic. Understand that meltdowns aren't tantrums. They're just a response to overwhelm. It's very hard for autistic people to regulate our emotions at times. If they're having a meltdown, help them by reducing sensory input. We need to dim the lights, lower the noises, enter a quiet space. That's very helpful. Secluded, quiet space. And then after that meltdown or shutdown, give them time to recover without pressure. Recovery is a big deal when you've been overwhelmed or overstimulated and have a shutdown. Something else I wanted to discuss is accept and appreciate them as they are. Don't try to fix or change your autistic loved one. Autism is a part of who they are. Celebrate their strengths and their special interests instead of just focusing on challenges. Show kindness, understanding, even when you don't fully understand their experiences. Just be considerate. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helped, and I hope that you can communicate better with your autistic loved one, and that you can learn to respect their boundaries and what they need and don't need and how they are. Just be considerate and open-minded, please. All right, thank you. Remember to like and subscribe. Bye-bye.
Do I hate men? No.
That's a lie.